Painful viewing for Manchester United fans. We have watched a lot of Manchester United games with Paul Scholes this season. I mean, we're going to try and move it on as well, Paul. But first, is that one of the most difficult seasons you've had to watch with your former club that you can remember?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, it's probably one of the most. Well, it is probably most embarrassing season the club have had. Not quite sure what went wrong. Obviously, form of players didn't help. Changing the manager as well, which we thought could possibly help, turn into almost a little bit more of a disaster, and it's been an embarrassing season for everyone concerned. Now the new man's he's got a lot of work to do. We know that. I think it's plainly obvious that we're a million miles away from where they want to be. You have to think about it, only 9 months ago, people actually thought we had a chance of winning the league. So I think there is a decent group of players there, but for whatever reason this year, it just hasn't quite worked out for many of them.
How much of it was who was leading them, and how much of it was down to the attitude and application of some of the players, do you think, at times?
It's difficult to gauge, actually, when you're not around the club. From the outside looking in, it looked like the players lacked a leader, looked like they lacked authority from somebody above them. They looked like they could do exactly what they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it. The discipline on the pitch just was far from good enough, and the quality that goes with it as well. I think Harry Maguire's loss of form as well was a big blow to United, because he's the one person you expect as a character to really drive his team forward. And unfortunately for the lad, we kept hoping that at some point he's going to find his form. We kept blaming an hangover from the Euros, and it just carried on and on and on. And really, look through the season, when your captain and your leader has a season as bad as that, it kind of summed up the full club.
You know, Scholes, you look at it, you think Ronaldo, me and Kaz was just talking there, Ronaldo, Scholes and De Gea. And then when you look, I saw a stat what said that Man United conceded 4 more goals than Burnley. It makes, we smile, but the fact is that if you take Ronaldo's goals out and De Gea's form out, that's like a relegation battle Man United would have been in, you know.
Yeah. Do you know what?
That's scary.
Without De Gea, they'd have been in this position for the last 5 or 6 years, right? I know he had possibly a poor season last season or the last couple of seasons, but before that, since Alex Ferguson went, the position in the league was almost masked a little bit because of the form of the goalkeeper. Yeah. He has been sensational, and he's been brilliant again. Not sensational, he's been brilliant again this year, but still conceded so many goals. I don't think he's been as good as he should have been. And I can't believe people question Ronaldo. He's placing the team, he's placing the football club. He scored 18, 20 goals. Now, I'd be thinking, I'm sure you'd be thinking, right, well, as a goal scorer, look, if I scored 18, 20 goals, then surely I'm doing my job.
Absolutely.
Any chance of the rest of you joining in and doing my job, doing your job as well? Absolutely. And I think if they had done, they'd have been a lot closer. But look, there's a lot of problems that the new manager needs to sort out, but I don't think Cristiano's one of them.
Was it too easy at times, Karen, just for anyone to say it was Ronaldo's fault?
Yeah, it was. Like we've just said, he's done his job, he's come in, and he hasn't even had good service. The thing I don't get, I get the defence, but I know Scholes is on there, but for me, I'm worried about the midfield, because I know the defence is there, but sometimes there's so many fragilities in that midfield that they take the pressure, and I just worry about that whole, I'm not just saying it because he's here, but you need that midfield, you need someone with, I know we've got McTominay and I know there's Fred in there, but for me, like, that's the area that I would look to go and recruit in. I think that's where, not necessarily with Saul, Maguire and Shaw, we know they can do it and they've had poor seasons, but sometimes in front of you, if it's not there, the pressure comes onto them.
I think that we've known for how many years now what Man United have needed, where they've needed to strengthen. Yes, they've got the defender, they've bought the defenders, they've bought, but the midfield and the holding midfielder, or a midfielder who can manage the game. I can't remember the last time I've seen Man United manage to get the tempo of a game. They're either playing counter-attack, you know what I mean, they're coming back from losing, it's got to be counter-attack. They've got no midfielders who can keep the ball, drag people out of position, pass the ball around, and then they literally a counter-attacking side. And that is what they've not addressed for years, midfield.
I think if you look at like Liverpool, they got Thiago. If you look at Man City, they got Rodri. You need someone like there just to, like you said, dictate, and they don't have that, do they? And
they don't. They don't.
You don't know what you're going to get.
And just wherever the position is, Paul, just getting back to what you guys were saying about Ronaldo, and when we do speak to him, and there was one particular interview I did with him this season at length, which made global headlines because he was pointing fingers, wasn't he, about the attitude within the dressing room, the culture of the club, and you played him the first time, you know what he demands and what he expects, and there was certainly frustration that he wasn't getting that from teammates.
Yeah, definitely, Steve. I remember that interview, and you could see he was clearly angry with the attitude of the younger players, and that's where the likes of him, likes of Aaron Maguire, they need to step up in the dressing room and explain that this, that whatever they're doing in training, what's happening on the training ground, just isn't good enough, as we were by senior professionals as well. When we come into the team, you think of your Brian Robson, Steve Bruce, Roy Keanes. You had to work as if you were playing a game every single day. Every single day. It didn't matter what you were doing. You had to, be respectful towards people around the training ground. It's all that culture of the football club is wrong, but it's up to these experienced players to make sure the younger players are doing that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say authority comes into it. I think these players have just been allowed to do what they want, stroll around the building, stroll around the training pitch, stroll around the football pitch on a Saturday afternoon. And it's been clearly obvious that what they've been doing through the week has not been good enough on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night.
And let's now hear from the man who was unveiled this week, who has the challenge of changing all that, the new Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag.
I think we have to work, and we have to set clear purposes, clear strategy, and then you need people who have capabilities and have the right attitude, and a positive attitude, and 100% committed and work hard, and then we will achieve success. I don't see it as a risk. I think this club has a great history, and now, let's make a future. And I'm really exciting to do that with the people around who are in the club. We bring some new people in the staff. We will analyze the squad, and we will go from day to day. Work hard, 100% committed, and then I'm sure we will get a success.
Do you like what you hear there, Paul? I mean, he's got your former coach Steve McLaren's back in there as well, who knows the Premier League and the club, to help him and his new assistant.
Yeah, well, they're always going to say the right things, aren't they? What he says there is exactly what we'd expect from a manager coming into the club. He expects hard work. Now, this group of players, they need that. He needs to, stamp his authority on the club. And knowing people don't go by his rules, they don't play the way he wants them to. If they just go onto a football pitch with no discipline and playing to the philosophy that he expects, then I expect them to be gone. I think he seems to work that type of way. I saw a couple of clips where he's at Ajax this week having a go at a couple of players, which I thought, this is exactly what this club needs. This is exactly what these players need. He's got a history of bringing young players into a team as well. So, look, it's going to be difficult. It's a massive job. It's a major job that we all know. To get close to Liverpool, Manchester City, even to get closer to Tottenham and Chelsea. I can't believe I'm saying that, but you're 13, 14 points off them as well. So he's got a major job just to get him into the Champions League. I think finishing fourth next year will be seen as some kind of success.
And in terms of recruitment, we've said many times in this studio when you've been here how it's sort of been slapdash with no plan. He seems to have a clear identity of the way he wants his teams to play. How important is it he's backed to get the right players into what he wants to do?
Well, he has to be. The club have employed him, now they have to give him exactly what he wants. I heard Karen there mention about a central midfielder. They've been talking about Frankie de Jong, who I think is a really good player. I haven't seen much of him at Barcelona, I must admit, but seeing for Holland, I think he's that type of player who can come in and control the tempo of games. But yes, this manager needs backing now. He's been brought into the club to to really turn it around. The only issue is who's going to be helping him on that side of business. I know at Ajax he had Edwin, and before that he had Mark Overmars, as we know. So he's always someone to help him. I don't see that role at United now. I don't know who's going to do that. There isn't that link between him and Richard Arnold or whoever's running the club, and I think he'll need help. Possibly Steve McLaren could be doing that, because Steve, as I know, was a fantastic coach, one of the best coaches I've ever had. But I don't think he's coached for a while now. He was more into the director of football role, I suppose, with Derby County. And whether he takes that role on as well to help him with the signing of players, then we'll just have to wait and see.
How far away do you think they are from the top two?
Well, I think even if Ten Hag comes in and we start to see Man United structurally more sound, I don't know what's going to happen with the midfield, because they're going to need to sign somebody to be able to control games. When you're a team of that stature, you have to be controlling games. You can't have a team like Norwich who's been relegated come to your stadium at Old Trafford and give them a chasing. That can't be happening. So I think that they brought Ten Hag in, and as good as he is, and as good as he might organise the team, if it's imperative they back him, and like Scholes said, he has to get exactly what he needs, because I don't know who's upstairs who's going to be doing that, but at the same time, I don't think Man United have got enough time to continue to play like they're playing. Whatever's going on with the owners and what's not going on at management level, I cannot see how this is going on for as long as it's gone on now. Who's going to arrest this development for Man United, for me?
Surely though, right, he's in a great position. It can't get any worse. Like, part of me kind of thinks you're a little bit happy going into this because it's an absolute disaster. So you want to go in and you can make that big impact. So part of me thinks he's saying the right things, but underneath I'm thinking he's able to bring in some of his players that he wants. They've been shocking. They're conceding. They're not scoring as many as they should. As a manager going in, you can make such impact and go, wow, what a great manager he is, just because it can't get any worse.
You hope so.
Well, yeah.
And I guess, Paul, as well, with so many players seemingly leaving the club, it's an opportunity to reset, a bit of a clean break.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting to see how many go. Obviously, Paul's out of contract. Jesse, as we know, is out of contract as well. Be interesting to see how many he'd like to change. I think there'd be quite a few, but I still think there's a nucleus of some really good players. There's some good, young, talented players in that squad that, as I say, we were thinking 9 years ago, we were all talking about them challenging for the league. We were probably, well, we were definitely a little bit wrong with that. But there is a really good group of players there. I'm sure there is 2, 3, maybe 4 additions, with real quality coming into the squad that he needs. And do you know what? We go back to last year as well. We thought Ronaldo's coming in, Varane's coming in, and you're thinking, yeah, here we go. But I think Varane's been disappointing as well. I think he's got away with it a little bit. A lot of injuries, hardly played a game. Cavani, I think, was a disgrace.